Good morning, this is David. And before you take a look at this video, I just want to say a few words about it. I shoot quite a few YouTube videos myself, but I also watch them. And before I did this repair, first time repair on a dent on a vehicle, I took a look at some YouTube videos out there, and I want to point out one in particular, Mercedes Source. Have a look at this if you're planning on doing this for the first time. I looked at pretty much all 12 parts of this series and have a look at the result. Thanks for watching this. So here's our dent. It's about 10 inches by about 6, and it's in the right front quarter panel. Okay, so I'm trying to feel and see what we can get away with just by manipulating it with our hands. There. So we've got part of it out. Pops back. The worst of it looks like it's right here. Okay, so there's our dent. I'm going to just be using the flat surface of a ball peen hammer, rounded on the outside. And I have this all-purpose dolly, general purpose dolly, Bondo. What we're going to try to do, I'm going to put this on the underside, the low part, and tap on the higher part, which is a technique that I've seen demonstrated by professionals. I'm not a professional at this. First time I've tried this. Got it masked off. Now the dolly, this is the off-hammer type technique, off-dolly I should say. So the dolly got approximately right here. I'm tapping above it on the higher spot, pushing out with the dolly. Okay, so we reduced it already. It was all the way to the light. And with some of those taps, I brought it down now to where it's this size. Okay, so once again, dolly on the low spot, hammer up here, push out with the dolly. I think what's going to hold us back from popping this out is the fact that this factory crease that's in here around the wheel well has been pushed in. That's what I've got here. Channel lock pliers. And I'm not going to worry too much about the paint on this side because it's going to have to be redone anyway. But I've got it to where this lip is inside there, and I'm going to just push it up, pull it out, and work it along. I'm going to pull this back out somewhere near the way it was once contoured. Okay, with the tape off, you can see right around here is what's left. Now here's the panel, pretty much pounded out, roughed out. There's still pock marks and highs and lows here. And there's one section right down here that I really haven't been able to bring out, a little low spot. Okay, we're in the process now of removing the paint and primer from the area, damaged area. I'm not going to go much beyond it. Just a disc on a drill. Okay, so now this gives us a more insight into the high and low spots. The low spots, of course, are the paint is still on there. So we're going to put our dolly under there. Just hammer it around a little bit. And then maybe some dolly on. Straight edge here. It's going to help us get a view. Okay, so it's still right in this area. Enough of it here that we really still need to use the off-dolly method. So we're going to put the dolly on the low spot. Push out with it. Tap around it. Okay, I've pulled aside this bumper panel here. It just kind of jerks, kind of pulls out of here once you undo a number of panel fasteners that are along the front. And then this can come out here. And now I can work on that damaged panel there. Okay, so I've just gained access here from the top for my dolly. Had one low spot I had trouble working out. I'm going to put the dolly, push out on the low spot, And voila, it feels like that one's been punched out. What I've decided to do is take all the paint off from here to the corner, and then we'll just have this area right here to blend instead of having a whole circle like this. Okay, so we're ready to rough the rest of this paint and primer off. I've got 15 grit sandpaper on a drill here. What I'm doing for dust abatement here, so I've covered this up with a tarp. I also have, what I like to do is put a shop vac in here, and I'll turn that on. I've got the nozzle set up. I've got a tripod to hold the nozzle up in place there, and it's going to draw some of that dust off. And of course, still though, I'm wearing a dust mask and some ear protection. Okay, so we've got our materials at the ready. Got our body filler, cream hardener, lacquer thinner for cleaning up. Got an assortment of rags ready over there. Got a knife for mixing and taking the filler out, setting it on our board. Got a little piece of plexiglass here for mixing. Also got a spreader here, medium-sized spreader. Got a scale under here. That's just what I like to do. The traditional mixing ratio here for hardener and filler is 1.25 inch line basically of the hardener. I made a mark on here from here to here. It's 1.25 inch. So you lay out a bead like that. And the technical mixing ratio is a golf ball size. And I'm going to approximate a golf ball size on here and actually weigh it for future reference in grams. So got my scales zeroed out. Let's see what a golf ball size amount weighs out at. I'm going to try to keep them separate at this point. Okay, I think that's approximately golf ball size right there. And actually coming through at 20 grams, 21. Make sure you clean your tools quickly with this to the 1.25 inch. Okay, now we're mixing it up. And just, knead this some, spread it around. And when you get it pretty much done, next step maybe is just take a spreader, get the stuff off your putty knife, or in my case, a modified kitchen knife. And again, have rags at the ready so that you can reuse these tools. Now we'll use the spreader a little bit. Okay, we've got a batch mixed up. I'm going to start up here. Bring it down thin. Okay, about 20 minutes has passed. So I'm going to use my 50 grit sandpaper on a block. Got my paint respirator on. About 10 to 15 minutes of sanding later. I'm feeling for high spots here, and there's some low spots that need to be filled in. It generally feels pretty good. I'm just going to lightly tap a couple of these. So I'm just going to talk about this a little bit before I put my respirator on. I'm putting down another coat here, just in some spots where it's light. And I'm going to work the edge a little bit, put some down here too because I missed it. I'm basically now filling some of the low spots. So I think we're pretty close now to being able to, put the finished coat of filler on there and then get to the primering. And what I'm going to be using is 100 grit sandpaper. There was a little lack of center on here before I start applying. Okay, so I've knocked down just a couple of high spots. I've got a couple of little mars here and a couple places where I need to smooth it off. So I'm just going to make up a small batch. And one of the advantages of doing that with a scale, I'm going to lay down like 3/4 of an inch of the hardener, and then 10 grams, half a golf ball. Yeah, this plexiglass, I saw this on another site. Again, Mercedes source. Highly recommend looking at that site. This is just excellent, excellent. A tutorial on Dent body filling. So there it is, spread on there. The less you put on, the less you have to sand off. Okay, now I put down about 4 layers of filler, and I'm really having some trouble finding a reason to do any more. I noticed when the bright sunlight hit my work, although it feels good to the touch, I spotted a number of imperfections, scratch marks, tiny pocks, a little bit missing on this edge. So I decided I'm going to go over this with a really light coat and then sand it with 220 grit sandpaper. I just want to show you, I've put primer down now. I'm checking out the surface. There's a spot right here. I'm going to rework a little bit. There's a high spot right down in here that I also need to do some sanding on, and possibly a little spot putty. Otherwise this thing looks kind of surprisingly clean. Okay, so get some water, spray it down. Also got a little pan underneath here for this to drip into, and my clean water. Okay, also what I'm going to be doing is taking this paper tape and moving it back another inch or two so that I can blend that in, level it off with the good paint beyond it. By the way, what I'm using on this is an old flip-flop that its partner was lost. It's flexible. It'll work. Okay, I've got this ready to paint. My recommendation, if you can at all possible, have it professionally painted. The repair on this quarter panel is complete, so it can be done by an amateur. I'd like to thank you for watching it, and don't be afraid to tackle such a job yourself.